Okay, back with Happy Chappy, and this is about fostering kids and adoption, um, child trafficking, and sexual energy um, exchange, how it's all related, and what I've seen in my life, and is all this. Um, from children being moved to adoption to fostering and just children in life and how they're sex trafficked. Um, that sex trafficking, how they're using kids' energy in sexual ways to take the energy off the kids and drain them and use it in a way of humiliation, and which leaves the children when they grow up ashamed of who they are while they've been manipulated and coerced into a way when they were a child, when they had no knowing or no control of who they were. And this happened to me. Uh, but what I'm saying is we've got to take a deeper look and dive into it to what these people are doing. And it's not just the where the children are coming from, foster care or adoption, but these are starting points. But to the families that are taking on the children and abusing the children in such ways that they can absorb their energy. Um, what I find is with my so-called family is that they absorb my energy where they would be always comfortable. And I'd be always the one that was feeling drained, and yet I was always the one that was looking after these ones when they were sick or in need or just anything. Like basic stuff like housework and cleaning, tidying, doing whatever had to be done, that I was doing it. And the adults just sat back and sucked that energy out of me. And even on a mental note, through conversation, you couldn't have that loving conversation because the it wasn't there. I could sit back and observe and see they didn't even interact with each other. It was just dark and dull. And that vibration became that in life. And through operations that they did, maybe unseen to the naked eye, but they were there. The abuse was there. And I think it's everywhere in a sense of darkness and how someone could be spoke to even. It all comes from the mind, the consciousness, and how thinking, feeling, and then the reaction to all that. And there becomes a reaction to that action, to what they take. And there'll be a counter reaction. And in result of all that, it's all coming from the negative. So it's going to be followed up with that. And whatever light is, it's been covered up. So the child never gets to actually use the energy in light that they were born into and suffer in darkness because everyone else sucks that energy out of them. And what I found is when they can get out of that darkness, they can light up, just like turning the light switch up. The light gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And as we all know, when a child is born, it doesn't see any darkness, it doesn't see any shapes, it doesn't see anything but light, because that's what it is. That's what a child is, a beautiful light brought into the darkness. And as soon as it is exposed to the people, that darkness comes upon them and they start shaping that light into designs, into shapes of people, objects, and it becomes a picture of a creation of what they've sensed through that darkness that was given to them. Instead of just illuminating into that energy and observing where that energy is compounded into shapes and just seeing it as energy and nothing more, and being able to walk into that light or walk as that light in the light of different forms of energy compounded into these shapes, into these dimensions. And that be taken away because the darkness be forced onto the children. And when it comes to the stages of fostering or adoption, there's so much more taken from that child in what they've already created from the darkness to get some kind of light out of it. Because the light's always battling to keep that within and around us, but with the illusion of so much dark and creating whatever light they can out of the shapes that's formed or the shape of life. Well, what we find, or I find, is with adoption or fostering it, that light gets taken away again. And this happens repetitively, or whatever, you know what I'm on about, in life. And it leaves one within themselves dark because they don't know how to find. They've tried so often of ways to find that light and they can never find it. But yet, it's always came from within them. They've only brought the darkness in by how they've sensed it. And through that thought and feeling about everything that's coming in. Like if you think back to when they were a baby, there was nothing but light until people observed and gave views and said this, said that. And the child would take it all in and then become a part of that, become a part of that darkness and lose the light in who they are. Just my view. And I just think it's better to look at a wider perspective. Not to say that these places aren't good in a sense for children that are brought into so much darkness that they do need this support. But I believe that the supportive system that's there needs to be looked at and recreated to a better source for the children. A better source of light, understanding, teaching of emotions, and not to be just give out to anybody just because somebody's got a high ranking, say, in a community to be somebody. Because what I've seen in that sense is that people aren't like that. People can have a high rank and face front and be a totally different character than who they're made out to be. And I'm just saying, if you're in that sense or feel in any way, then you could look at this and possibly make that difference to help bring the light upon that dark that's within there. Anyway, just my view. Love and peace.